Sagittarius, welcome back to Steampunk Psyche. If you are a returning subscriber, I want to say thank you so much. It's very cool that you're sticking with this community, okay? If you're brand new or just cross-watching, I'm JT. How you doing? And I appreciate you being here. Okay, we are going to shuffle up and get started with this reading. Keep in mind, it's just energy. They're just cards. I'm just the reader. I'm going to tell you the way I see it, okay? We'll shuffle up and get started. Sagittarius, I want to let you know I have been putting the haiku poems at the beginning of your readings now, so I'm not trying to chase you off. I know a lot of people just expect to jump in there and get their reading started, but I'm not that guy. I'm not that reader. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the poems, but they will be right before your reading, okay? I'll lay out these cards. I'll go over each of the categories with you, and we're going to find out what is in Sagittarius energy right now, okay? Okay, we are talking about your current present energy, all right? I'll go over each and every one of these cards. You have the crossing challenge. We have what's in the foundation. We have the recent past. We have the hopes, fears, wishes, or worries. We have the near future. We have the self. Lots of major arcana already. We have the environment. Hopes, fears, wishes, or worries. And then the outcome and the direction. Okay, Sagittarius, give me just a minute. I'm going to look at these cards, and while I'm doing that, I have your poems for you. Okay, Sagittarius, we are talking about a leap, a breakthrough, crossroads, and an ending that has to come. If you're interested, let's do this. Okay, we're going to talk about this current energy. Anytime I see the Fool card show up right from the beginning, we are going to expect something serious, right? We're talking about some air signs here. Okay, that could apply to you. Take what resonates here, but Gemini, Libra, Aquarius could be in your energy or in this energy here. But we're talking about a fresh start. I'm ready to live again. This is the spark that ignites every single thing, okay? This is stepping into 2026 like with a willingness to take risks in love, money, your identity, okay? This is, I'm not waiting for permission anymore, right? Okay, I feel like you might be drawn to someone, maybe someone new, maybe someone you know, I don't know, but there's an instant chemistry here, okay? This is the spark, like I said. It's the, I don't know you, but I want to, okay? It's got that kind of energy, right? You're tempted maybe to, I don't know, text somebody first. There could have been a little bit of silence involved here. It's not like a major situation, but I do feel like there is maybe a little bit of silence involved in that. But we could be talking about somebody maybe here who has, like, I'm picking up, I don't know, somebody with like bright eyes to match your energy. You know, it's like got bright or hazel, maybe green, something like that. But this is giving off that like flirty kind of a cautious vibe, right? But sensual, nice. This could be you like posting more freely, you know, on social media, kind of like not holding back, a little less curated, I guess, more real. Or someone's watching your stuff online, way more consistently. This could be talking about maybe like you're ready to leave a job, okay, or considering like a trip or a date or something like that. But definitely, I got this. Somebody's trying to read on that energy with you, right? You got that I'm craving adventure and love. I'm not about routine. This is that kind of that young, bringing back that young energy again. Okay, you just kind of opening up here. We could be talking about breaking like a karmic loop. Choosing differently this time, something like that. But it does definitely got that bold, flirting, spontaneous, playful texting, invitations, whatever. If we're talking about like the masculine, feminine energy here, we could be talking about the masculine is this initiating and daring kind of energy. And if we're talking about like the feminine, it has that kind of like openness and, just trusting the, it's kind of like trusting the moment here. So as far as synchronicities are concerned, we could be talking about maybe you're like seeing feathers, or like repeating, I don't know, like repeating zeros, perhaps, maybe even like little white dogs. I'm not sure, but yeah. All right, now we're going to talk about this crossing challenge, the Two of Swords, okay? Okay, deep breath. This part might sting a little bit, but I'm telling you out of love, okay? This is you're stuck between a couple of choices here. Could be a couple of people here. It could be like that decision to move or job relocate, but I feel more about an avoidance type energy here. Okay. So, and I feel like maybe that's the real blockage. Okay. If we're talking about a crossing challenge, torn between someone new, someone familiar, unsure whether to block somebody or just give them another damn chance. Right. So I feel like someone you like, maybe a little indecisive, maybe a little emotionally guarded here. I don't know. Maybe you're waiting for the text, but trying to resist maybe texting first. This has got that pretending you don't care, but you actually do kind of energy. Maybe it could apply, right? Maybe someone's hiding their feelings. Really kind of like stuck in their mind, the logical side of things. Okay. Maybe you're afraid of choosing wrong. We could be talking about for some, there may be like a third party energy here that might be complicating things for you. But this has really kind of got that, avoiding a conversation that might definitely my throat chakra is, closing up. So I feel like this is conversation that could definitely bring some kind of clarity to the situation. All right. So as far as kind of like human behavior characteristics, like we're talking about, delayed replies, I don't know what I want, responses or something like that, emotional avoidance. If we are talking about like the masculine energy, this might be like guarded and more in the logical mind. And if we're in the, feminine energy, for sure, it's intuitive, but maybe a little hesitant. Okay. Okay. Moving on now into the foundation. We've got the Eight of Swords. All right. I'm going to be gentle with this one. All right. This is the part you've been carrying quietly. Right. I think you've been mentally trapped by fear, overthinking, a past wound that's still echoing in your heart, right? Something like that. I don't know, worrying that someone might be hiding something from you. Okay. Replaying, some old conversations in your head. Fear of being the vulnerable one first. There's a whole lot of shit out there on the internet about, the push, pull, retreat, who's going to break the silence, blah, blah, blah. That type of stuff will definitely cause like anxiety. But we could be talking about like your finances or career shifts as well. So it could be like feeling stuck in your job or the relationship. Okay. Fear of repeating, past karmic patterns or something like that. Really holding back your true feelings is really kind of like the mainstay here, I feel like. But it could also be that you're just over analyzing like texts that are coming in, or just kind of like the tone of somebody's, energy, their attitude, something like that. I don't know, feeling trapped by circumstances that are, they're actually changeable here. Okay. So in the human behavior side, we're just talking about overthinking. It could be that you're scrolling their social media way too often. Okay. Uh, Emotional paralysis, really. Just it's the illusion card here. So if we're talking about the masculine energy, we're talking about it's kind of got that frozen defensive type energy. And if we are, explaining like the feminine energy, it could be like anxious, intuitive, but a little bit overwhelmed here. Okay. All right, now we're moving on. We're looking at the recent past, and we've got the Ace of Pentacles. Okay. This is a new opportunity recently appearing in your life, maybe. But also could have been talking about like that while being financial, but maybe romantic or both at the same time. Maybe this is someone you deal with at work or somebody in your environment that you have experienced or something like that. But definitely it's got that, a new job or a raise, but it also has, maybe someone offered you something really stable, it does have the grounded earth sign energies here involved. So, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energies that could apply to some people. This is you started like a new routine or a new, like a health habit or something like that, working out at the gym, anything like that. Unexpected money arriving. It might have a hint of like a long-term potential, relationship, work, something like that. But this is, I feel like you planted the seed of like a new relationship here. Okay. This is investing in yourself. You could have received like a message that, kind of gave you the green light signal. Okay. It's feeling grounded for the first time in really a long while for you, possibly. If we're talking about the human behavior, this has got the, consistency, reliability, practical, type affection. And if we were talking about maybe synchronicities, we could be talking about actual coin here. Somebody could be like a coin collector, somebody or you just really like coins. Or we could be talking about the color gold here. Perhaps you're a gold wearer. You like you like gold, and but we also could be seeing like repetitive of numbers. Like repeating ones or something like that. Just take what applies here. Okay, so we're moving on into the possibilities here. And we have the Nine of Wands. All right. So the Nine of Wands, little bit of a soft landing here. This is the I'm tired, but still fighting part. Okay. But you are closer than what you think, right? This is, I'm tired of mixed signals, but I'm still hopeful, still showing up. Excuse me. This is someone who keeps returning, even after like a conflict or something like that. This is healing from a past relationship. This is like being cautious and maybe guarded with a I don't know, with a new love, or maybe you're just waiting for someone to like prove themselves. Okay, this speaks of like rebuilding trust again, but this tells me you're definitely near the end of a long struggle of some kind, whatever that, however that applies to you. Like I said, it kind of stings a little bit, but it's necessary here. So the human behavior is kind of like, it might be the slow replies back. Someone's testing the waters with you. Okay. It could be you needing reassurance, so the masculine energy might look something like defensive, but still showing up, kind of loyal to you. If we're talking about the feminine nature, it might be like cautious, but you can see or hear that there's hopefulness there, right? I don't know. As far as synchronicities, you might be seeing like 999 or something like that. We could be talking about, I don't know, something about walls. Maybe you're painting your walls or something like this, at this time. I mean, it could apply, right? We're talking about boundaries here. So we could be talking about as synchronicity wise, you know, you just have this thought one day, hey, I need to go paint this room, something like that. Okay. Just take what applies. All right, moving on into the near future, we have the Temperance, another major arcana card here. We could be talking about you, right? Sagittarius. That is the major arcana. The card is balance, healing, divine timing, right? And this is telling me that you're stabilizing. Okay, you've alchemized this past. Um, this tells me a relationship that might become way more harmonious here. Okay, someone apologizing to you, or definitely like meeting you halfway in a circumstance. Okay, but this is emotional balance that's returning back to you here. Meeting someone who's emotionally mature, super patient. Okay, we're talking about, this is finding peace, within your decisions, your decision making. We could also be kind of like talking about blending maybe like two lifestyles together. Someone has kids, or someone has, family member living with them, and that's part of that, the blending there. But this is feeling spiritually aligned, as well as physically. Okay, so you could also talk about like attracting someone who feels, like home, comfort. Okay, so definitely gentle communication here. There's patience in this. There's compromise. Somebody could be seeing synchronicities of like angels. You could have like a tattoo of a really cool angel or something like that. Maybe water signs. Uh, Definitely Sagittarius symbol. Okay. Okay. Now we're moving on into the self. All right. And you're leveling up here. Okay. The world card is definitely the cycle ending and a brand new one beginning for you. Okay. Um, this is closing a karmic loop. It's ready for a real relationship. This is it talks about travel, or planning to travel. Finishing up a major project that you've been working on. Embracing your self worth. Okay, attracting like a definitely a higher quality type partner. Okay, stepping into your power in this situation. Releasing the old versions of yourself that you're no longer going to repeat. This is long term stability here. So we could be like somebody. You ever been doodling with your hand before, and you just kind of sit there and doodle? Somebody could be doodling out like the figure eight. Okay, for synchronicities or something like that. It doesn't have to apply, but it could. You could be seeing like repeating numbers like two and ones. 21 could be your age, for instance, here. So just take what applies. All right. Moving on into the environment, we have the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, so this Nine of Pentacles is telling me this is glow up, blow up, right? I feel like this is you. You might be surrounded by abundance. You might be very independent. Okay, you might be financially well off. You have worked yourself into this position. Okay, but you're glowing up physically, definitely financially, or about to start financially. Attracting attention online more. Okay, perhaps you're a YouTuber, or you've got a very high, strong presence, in the social media or something like that. But I feel like this is becoming way more self-sufficient for you, and everything could be working out in that way. Improving your home, your lifestyle. Someone's definitely admiring your confidence here. Okay, so you could be receiving, a lot of compliments. I don't know, maybe like leveling up your wardrobe, something like that. But this is attracting stable partners. Okay, when you're in this position, this is stability that's coming. This is very magnetic energy. Okay, all right. Moving on into the hopes, fears, wishes, and worries, we have the Ace of Wands. This is, you want passion. Okay, you want desire, but you kind of like fear that burnout stage, right? You're wanting someone who excites the hell out of you. Your first card, the Fool, is definite deciding that for you. So it's like, I don't want to be used anymore for just passion. Okay, I need someone to show up. I want that spark that lasts. That kind of energy. Okay, craving intimacy. This is fear of choosing wrong. Because you want somebody bold, right? Uh, Fear of repeating like that fiery, how it starts off fiery and passionate, but then turns unstable. Okay, this is definitely wanting a fresh start. It's fear of rejection, but wanting that someone who chooses you, clearly here. Okay. Okay. Now, soft landing. All right. I'm going to hold your hand on this one. All right. This isn't a tragedy. This is a release. Okay. This is something that has been draining you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all of them. This is finally ending for you. No more. Okay? That moment frees you up. This is you finally walking away, from someone who kept you stuck, a karmic cycle that ends permanently. Done. This is you stop waiting for someone that's inconsistent. Okay, blocking someone maybe who kept you unclarified, no clarity. You stop replaying the old wounds in your life. This is the release, of a soulmate or something that wasn't choosing you. The end of the I'm done fucking over giving. Okay, you stop chasing and you start receiving in this. Okay, choosing yourself fully. So this is like the final realization, the final boundary. For the masculine, this is definite, decisive ending. And for the feminine, this is emotional release. Done. Okay. As far as synchronicities are concerned, you could be seeing something like crows, ravens, something like that. You might be a sunset watcher here. Okay. You could be seeing like repeating tens. This is done. Okay. I feel like this is the full arc, from like leap to crossroads here. Okay. The fool shows that, your willingness to start fresh here. Okay. And the two and the eight of swords, that's revealing the fear and the indecisiveness, that you've been carrying around. But you had major arcana showing up, the temperance in the world. This is healing. This is evolution, So the Ten of Swords is not a tragedy. Okay. It's liberation. You know what I'm saying? This is liberation here. So, my goodness, Sagittarius, it's a beautiful reading. I love it. I hope you got something from it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, would you? And let me know in the comments if you're down with the haiku poems or not, or even the reading. Leave your comments, whatever they are. Anyway, Sag, I love you. I appreciate you. I wish you all the love, all the luck, everything involved with this reading. So anyway, I hope I get to see you again on the next readings. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.